And welcome to The Verdict. Kent Meyer sitting in alone today. Mick Cornett's not with us. He's out doing some good for the city and the state, I'm sure, somewhere. But he will be back in a couple of weeks. I bring you his regards. Today we welcome back to the set of The Verdict a guest that has been here more than any other guest that we have had on the 15 and a half years of doing this show. Joe Castiglione, the athletic director at the University of Oklahoma, is going to come talk to us about what's been going on recently at the university in all aspects of the athletic department. There's an awful lot to learn, an awful lot to hear about, and we're really thrilled he'd come back again at this busy time of the year. Of course, I don't know that Joe has a time of the year that isn't busy, but I know how frantic things can be as school begins. So sit back, and I think you're going to really enjoy our show today, learning about an update on OU athletics from Joe Castiglione. You're watching The Verdict. We'll be right back.
What I can offer is insight into understanding the Native American art, how these artists are expressing themselves as cultural people. I am Heather Ottone. I'm a Native American researcher and curator, and I am Chickasaw. I can remember in first grade the teacher saying, "Well, you're so lucky you don't look Indian." That was difficult to hear because it was what I was. It's what I am. I think there's a renaissance going on amongst the tribes. I think the Chickasaws are leading that. We didn't die. We're not gone. So what are we now? And what can we do now to start to form that identity, to survive into another century? And to have the culture guiding us into that future, that would be significant.
See more stories about the Chickasaw people at profilesofanation.com.
Welcome back. We're here with Joe Castiglione that I'm going to introduce right now on this version of The Verdict, talking about an update on OU athletics. Joe Castiglione is a well-known face and figure for our audience here on The Verdict. He has been with us 17 times. This will be, I guess, his 18th appearance. And as I said in the opening, he is tied with Dr. Marianne Bowman for most appearances on some 795 shows that we've done here on The Verdict. Joe did his collegiate work at Maryland, where he was a football player. He then had a stint as athletic director in the athletic department, I should say, at Rice University and at the University of Missouri. We stole him from the University of Missouri, and that's been a great event from our standpoint. He is now in his 18th year as athletic director at the University of Oklahoma, and he is now the longest serving athletic director that the university has ever had. The 2015-2016 season for athletics at OU was spectacular under Joe's leadership, and he's going to talk to us about that. Over the course of his tenure here at OU, he has had 9 national championships and 74 conference championships to his credit, and of course the credit of the athletes that performed. But he's genuinely a good guy. He's always generous with his time, and free with his time. And we're really pleased to be able to bring him back to you for another visit. Joe, welcome back.
Kent, it's great to be with you. I think back to the first year you did this show, and I'm really privileged to be invited back so many times. And I want to say I miss Mick Cornett being here. and he, like you, have done so many great things in our community. And I've got a chance to cross paths with Mick several times in various roles that he's played, but what a super leader he has been for not just Oklahoma City, but the state of Oklahoma. And I miss him being right here, and maybe I'll have to look forward if I get invited back for the 18th show next year.
Well, you certainly will, and I miss him as well. He has been our quarterback on this show since show number 1, 15 and a half years ago. So Mick, wherever you are, hurry home. We need you. By the way, congratulations on a wonderful year in athletics at the University of Oklahoma this last year. Can you take as much time as you'd like and kind of summarize for our viewers what happened and how you saw it?
It was a special year, and by many others' accounts, maybe the most successful year in the history of the University of Oklahoma's athletic program. Once we won 3 national championships in the same year, but that was in 1950, and we didn't even have women's sports back then. So having that accomplishment, the 2 won by the men's and women's gymnastics team on the same night, actually within about an hour of each other in 2 different cities. And then, of course, the spectacular run by our softball team to win a national championship here in Oklahoma City against Auburn is just, 3 incredible highlights, but 3 of only many others. We had incredible run by football, being in the college football playoff in the top 4 teams in the country. Our men's basketball team, went all the way to the Final Four. We had tennis, we had golf, that were also in the hunt for playing for a national championship. Several others that won conference titles. We've had the most decorated academic student athlete come through our program and get recognized as the Campbell Trophy winner by the National Football Foundation. That was Ty Darlington. C.J. Cole on our men's basketball team had the best GPA in all of Division I college basketball and received a special award from the NCAA at the Final Four. We had Eric Stryker, who won the Sullivan Award, which is given on campus for perceptivity. And it's never been given to any student at the University of Oklahoma. So not only was Eric the first student athlete to win it, but he's really the first student, to ever win that award. And so we've had, other national award winners. Obviously, Buddy Hield was the consensus player of the year in college basketball. Paige on our softball team, with her incredible performance as our pitcher, won a lot of awards, as many other athletes have. So, top of all the athletic success, the thing that I really think that sets our program apart, and what we've talked at this table many times of what we wanted to aspire to be, is not only good in our athletic endeavors, but good in the classroom. And we also had the best year ever academically. Our 9 straight semesters now with a cumulative GPA of 3.0. We had the best graduation rate, over 85%. And our student athletes, more importantly, are now in a place to do something special beyond sports. And we continually invest in that student athlete experience to make it world class. And so I really think that we are finding the right balance. I never talk in terms, Ken, of being perfect, but we certainly are moving the program forward in a way that you could say that the broad-based success of intercollegiate athletics, along with the importance of recognizing the priorities of why students are actually here on campus, are being upheld.
Well, I want to expand on that just a minute. Yeah, the performance of student athletes in the classroom has been just about as good, if not just as good, as on the field, and of course good in both places. But you've led the way. I mean, since you've been at the University of Oklahoma, you haven't allowed your educational process to stop.
No, it hasn't.
You've gotten both a master's, I think, and a PhD.
Yeah. Not the PhD, but the master's.
The master's,
yeah.
Yes. Yourself, while you're doing these other things. Why did you do that? Why did you continue your education?
Part of my own personal value system is I'm committed to lifelong learning. And I think any of us that are trying to be, exceptional leaders, to be better people, are finding ways for we can grow. I grow in my job every day. I think it's vitally important, and I think it's important for the athletic director to emulate what you want with other people that you're associated with in the program. I like to have finished my PhD, as you said, but my kids and the ages, were such that I thought I better press the pause button, because I didn't want to miss the things they were involved in growing up. I can always go back. Can't get those days back with those kids.
You have 2 children, I think.
2, and one of them is going into his sophomore year at Oklahoma now. I have
and the
another
other's a high school student.
High school sophomore.
Yeah.
But to stay connected with lifelong learning, ever since then I've also taught. And so again, we'll have my class this fall, and I've been teaching for about 10 years now, and I love it. It's a great release. And I figure that, for the people that are understanding and want to understand how intercollegiate athletics fits in the institutional mission, its role in the community, its role nationally, and to move forward in making the decisions that represent integrity and in class, in dignity, what's expected of our role. This is the class they've asked me to teach. I've been in your class teaching once in a while, and
indeed.
So I really feel like that's important, and I enjoy it.
Well, it's pretty clear, I think, that the desire to excel in academics starts at the president's office and works on down.
Absolutely.
Starts at the regents, I guess, but certainly goes through the president's office. Well, we need to take a brief break here and let our sponsors have their say. We're visiting with Joe Castiglione, the athletic director at the University of Oklahoma, and we'll be right back.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Kent Myers, missing Mick Cornett this week, but he'll be back in a couple of weeks. We are really pleased today to, as we said in the first segment, welcome Joe Castiglione back for his 18th appearance on The Verdict. I want you to please give a message of congratulations and a plea from me to Patty Gasso,
I will
the
do that.
head softball coach at the University of Oklahoma. I'm so pleased she won the national championship, but I wish she wouldn't make it so close and so hard to get to. I watched that final game, and I thought my fingernails were going to be gone when it was finally over.
Yeah, she's been an incredible leader. She's not only won 3 national titles here at Oklahoma, we've been in the College World Series quite often.
Yeah.
She's a Hall of Famer herself, being elected several years ago. And she took a very young team. We had some critical leadership by our senior class, but a small senior class. And we had several freshmen, true freshmen, play important roles. And again, it got down to that they just wanted to continue to play together. And they found a way, they're really engaging with the fans. But KJ Kindler, Mark Williams, who's also our USA Olympic coach this year. Of course, Coach Stoops is entering his 18th season here, and he and I and President Bourne will be starting 18 seasons together. That's very unusual for higher education.
Well, that in and of itself is a pretty good team.
Right. Coach Kruger, as we mentioned earlier, has done an exceptional job. Sherry Cole, by the way, was inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame this year, and her team made it to the 17th straight NCAA tournament. And I mentioned President Bourne, and you also recognize the university leadership. Those are the kinds of ingredients that allow us to continue to be successful. And of course, the fan support that we have, because we try to be very good stewards of the revenue that we have coming from ticket sales or donations or other ways that we can generate it to support our program. And as we've talked many times, we're doing it in a way that allows Oklahoma to be one of a handful of programs left that are truly self-sustaining, meaning we don't depend on any kind of appropriations from the state or institutional financial subsidy, nor any student fees that go to athletics. So we're trying to generate it on our own. And sometimes that creates a little grousing when people think we're doing things in a business-like way, but it's a large budget, and 21 sports take a lot of resources to be successful.
Not only have the athletic teams been successful, but your continued attention to the facilities at the university has been something really to see. Now, talk to us a little bit, if you will, about the football stadium expansion that the fans will see, I guess, for the first time this fall.
Right, on September 10th, we'll open the south end zone.
The bowl.
Yes, it not surprisingly, because we talked about this when we launched the idea, but it does change the dynamics of that stadium. When you could stand at 50-yard line, or you could be in any kind of seat, and everywhere you look, it's Sooner fans. Maybe a few of the visiting team in there, but it is magnificent. It is really special. It's again a project that we've made happen through private support, and it was a two-pronged goal. I think I sat here last year talking about it, and the two part of the goal was, one, to create world-class facilities for our student athletes, which will be finished next spring, and that's within that structure. And then an unforgettable experience for our fans. Kent, as you know, things evolve. We're very fortunate because we've sold out every football game since Coach Stoops has been here. And we're trying to keep it that way.
Well, that means since you've been here.
Well, that's right. I give him the credit. But the importance of creating a great fan experience. We try to have something for everybody. We have people that just buy a season ticket. Basically, 2/3 of the stadium don't require any contribution. Then we have premium seats. So if you want an increased experience, more amenities, then people pay a little bit more for that. And any of the money we raise off of those kinds of endeavors go right back into investing in the program. And this particular end zone is a great eye on what will happen with the rest of the stadium renovation when we get to it in further phases. And as we sit here today, thinking back to last year, we've sold every suite, sold every loge box, and we're trying to sell the rest of those club seats. We're within about 150 of selling them out.
Really?
Which is,
how many are there? Club seats?
1,800.
Yeah.
That's 1,800 new seats.
Yeah.
And of course, we've had some changeover in the other areas of the stadium too. Natural attrition, people move away.
Right.
We've lost some fans, unfortunately, but we've sold those seats. So we'll sell more season tickets than we've ever sold before, and that'll be a heck of an environment when we open it on September 10th. We've got a football game on the road before that, however, against the University of Houston.
Indeed. What about seating capacity in the stadium? Has that been changed because of the renovations?
It certainly has, and it's gone up about 2,300 seats. So we'll have roughly 85,000 seats this year and perhaps next year. We hope maybe 2 years from now we'll get to the renovation of the lower seating bowl in the rest of the stadium. And as we've said since day one with our master plan, we're going through and refurbishing all the stands, the seats, the concrete, widening the aisles, adding handrails. But when we widen the aisles, we actually lose at least a seat, maybe a seat and a half per row. So if you kind of think ahead on that, the natural attrition of those seats will bring our seating capacity down some. But that was all planned. And we think that we found the sweet spot for, the continued demand of our fans. And so that'll happen as natural as we can. And hopefully the economy comes back, and I know it will, but
Yeah.
we'll wait till a time when we can create the revenue to do the next phase.
I want to shift gears.
Mm-hmm.
I want to focus a little more on you and some of your recent activities. I know that you have, this last year, been chairman of the NCAA, what I'm going to call the basketball committee.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I don't know whether that was the right name or not.
Yeah.
The committee that selects, I guess, the 64, 68 teams that participate in the NCAA basketball tournament. Can you describe that experience? And is that something you'd like to do again, or are you worn out with it?
It's probably a little of both.
Yeah.
It was an absolute incredible experience and a true honor. I tried to imagine every part of it, and I got pretty close, but there were certain things that one can't fully anticipate. And being the chair of the committee is an even more prestigious accomplishment, if you will, in my career.
How many years did you serve on the committee?
5.
5 years.
Yes.
And the last
and
year you were chair.
I was chair, but it's not a rotational chair. It's something,
Right.
You don't run for it.
Right.
Your peers elect you. It's not something
You get
that
elected
you can control.
at a meeting you don't attend.
That's
I guess.
correct. That not like a committee. They'll kind of like when you step out of the room, you get up, you
right.
get the assignment. It's not quite like that. But it was truly a privilege and an honor, and to be able to serve with 9 other outstanding committee members, which changed a little, over the 5 years because terms expire. And I'm now, my term on the committee is complete as of a meeting this summer. And the AD at Michigan State, Mark Hollis, will be the chair this coming year. But Kent, you couldn't imagine some of the things he experienced, the people that you meet, the role of a leader, the way that you're supposed to represent the votes of the committee, sometimes when they weren't consistent with your own.
Yeah.
But that was the democratic process, and certainly we follow the process, the criteria, the evaluation, the selection, the seating, the bracketing through the process that's in writing and in place. There's absolutely no deviation. And there's a lot of preparation, a lot of games. I can't even tell you how many basketball games I've watched over the last 5 years. In the thousands of games, as the committee members too. But I have to tell you one thing. Every AD would dream this. Not many get a chance to experience it, but we knew we had a special men's basketball team this year, but even some of the best teams don't make it to the Final Four. But I have to tell you that around Christmas time, I had this sort of premonition that maybe I could be the chair of the basketball committee and present the national championship trophy to Oklahoma. I know the people around the country would have thought, there was something contrived, it wasn't ethical. There is no way one person could ever, change the process to advantage one team. It can't be done. But we got close, and
you came as close as you could.
we got close, and I'm very proud to be there with my team at the Final Four. And it's an experience I'll never forget.
Well, that's going to have to be our last word until your 19th appearance with us. We've been visiting today with Joe Castiglione, the athletic director at the University of Oklahoma, who does a great job. I'll be back in just a minute to close your show. Joe, thanks again.
Thank you, Ken.
You're watching A Verdict.
There are now 11 million of us who live here and work here. I was 15 when I came here 6 years ago. I raised my family here. I drive my truck to my job every day. The only difference between now and 6 years ago, I do it legally. I wanted to. Because this is my home.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
You have children coming from a different lifestyle, different mindset. You have to open your arms and really do what you have to do to have that child become a part of your family. And if it's more patience, that's what you do. Kids gotta know they can trust you. And that's what we've tried to do with these kids.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Kent Myers here, sitting solo without Mick Cornett, but we'll have him back in a couple of weeks. We've been pleased today to visit with Joe Castiglione, the athletic director at the University of Oklahoma, who had a wonderful report for you. And I know that he would like to see as many of our viewers as can join Joe down at the campus for athletic activities in the upcoming year. In that connection, I got a couple of websites to get a hold of Joe. It's Soonersports.com, Soonersports.com. And of course, we have a website, theverdict.tv. Love to hear from you. We look forward to seeing you next week. You've been watching The Verdict.